What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to take a look at that new Scream 6 poster that dropped yesterday. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and there's two very, very interesting things that actually this poster, I believe, is hinting at. We'll talk about, actually, there could be a third, and let's start with that third thing. It's more of a observation and probably something that highlights what we've already been talking about, but the train tracks, right? So each of these lines and colored lines represents a different movie, obviously, in Scream, right? What's interesting is 1 and 5 are linked. They're directly next to each other and they follow each other, whereas 2 and 6 are also linked. So I do find that, again, that's not, I don't think that changes anything. I don't think those are the bombshells of the other two things that we'll talk about, but it is interesting that they know, that we know, and also it's kind of all planned this way, right? 1 and 5 are linked up very, obviously heavily. 2 and 6 are linked up very heavily, and now the train tracks actually show it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, let's talk about the Stu Macher thing. So everyone on this list is dead except for a couple, and that number will change depending on what you believe as an individual, right? So firstly, we have Sam, and we're going to talk about her. She's the last big thing that this poster is showing us. So Sam is there, obviously not dead, and Kirby is there. Now, she's in red. Her dot's in red, and it's got the X through it, and it says closed underneath her name. So obviously very different than anybody else who is not closed, right? And the reason why she's closed, or that station, let's say, is closed, is because she didn't actually die there. Maybe she'll die somewhere else, or maybe she won't. So you got to keep that in mind. Now, the Stu thing is super interesting, and I've seen a bunch of different theories floating around online that I'm going to try to talk about as many as I can remember, where Stu is not in white, right? Everybody who's dead here is in white. Stu is in like a pink, like a light red, whatever color you want to give that. But one thing you can say for sure is he is not the same color as everybody else. So what does that actually mean? Well, there's a couple ways of going about it. Number one, you could look at it as he's not actually dead, right? It's some sort of like very clever, even though, it's very obvious. That's the thing. Like, you look at this and he stands out, and he stands out purposely. Again, the question is, why does he stand out purposely? I've seen some people throw around conspiracy theories that maybe a big idea with this movie, the entire theme of this movie, is going to be conspiracy theories. And that does make a lot of sense, considering I think we have to kind of bring in the Sam thing just for a second for this purpose, because remember, one of the original rumors of Sam is there's and this is potentially spoilers. I don't really think so, because I do think the trailer and I think the poster of Christmas, I think they're going to hint at it, or that poster did hint at it. I think the trailer will also say it. The rumor is that Sam is being blamed, basically worldwide or nationwide or whatever, for the deaths in Scream 5, and she blamed, or she put it on Amber and Richie, so she's the real killer. So, and what does that mean? Conspiracies, right? There's these conspiracies going online. There's news stations reporting it. It actually makes a lot of sense. One of those first pictures that we saw of Gail, following Tara and Sam, and they don't look very happy at all. It's possible that it's because maybe it started online, like on Twitter or like a Twitter equivalent, that, hey, Sam is the real killer of the Woodsboro, murders last year or whatever, and that makes its way to news stations, and they're basically all covering fake news. So, whatever you want to kind of, they could take some meta jabs at this, right? And then Gail gets a whiff of it, and Gail goes, and that upsets Sam, where she's like, why in God's name would you think that I did it? You were there. Or maybe Gail is trying to, say, well, I'll help you out, but you got to give me something, whatever the case may be. But the theme there would be theories, conspiracy theories. What else is a conspiracy theory? The Stu thing. So that was a long-winded way of saying it, but I do think if one of the main ideas of this film, especially to your central character, Sam, your lead, right? Your final girl. Whether she should or shouldn't be, she is, right? So this person, the idea, the main theme with her is going to be conspiracy theories. Well, what else has been conspiracy in the Scream universe? Stu. And so, it's definitely an odd way of doing it. It's the movie and marketing being aware that some of us, I guess I'm pointing at myself, even though I don't think Stu will actually come back. Some people out there believe Stu to be alive and that he would one day return. And so they're aware of it, but also it's kind of cool in a way where the movie is aware of it too, because they've never fully closed the book. The final thing is Sam. So I noticed this. I mean, this was the first thing I noticed. I was like, all right, well, obviously, it doesn't take a genius to notice it because she's the biggest name. Like her font, I believe, is the same, but her font size is the biggest by a lot of all the rest. She's at the top right, and she's the connection point with all of the tracks. So, I mean, once you notice that each track is a movie, and you notice they're all dead, and then it all leads and it all connects into that point, and Sam is there, it's like, oh my God, so Sam is the center point. Now, that can be very symbolic, or it doesn't have to be symbolic. It really can, again, I'd say go as far as you'd want to make it go. It could go, again, into more of a conspiracy thing where, well, not even conspiracy. I guess one way of looking at it would be like Billy, where like Billy and Stu kind of started it all. It started all 6 of these films, right, if you're going to look at them like that. And so they all kind of lead to Sam because she's the daughter. So you can look at it that way, and that's very like just generic, even though like you could argue Roman was the thing but Roman has really kind of been forgotten even by like the movies. Like they do want you to focus on specifically Billy, right? He's like the guy, not really Roman, even though, you can argue back and forth. But so you have that way. You do have the conspiracy theory where, maybe for like the Scream 5 thing, well, those were, maybe she did those, right? And then you look in the past, and I guess the other tracks are, again, because of Billy. You could look at it more, again, symbolically, where she's the center point of the movies. Like she is the new center point. Maybe Sydney would have been there if they did this for, say, 1 through 4, right? Going into 4, or even like right after 4. Say they made a poster when 4 ended, and they had all these train tracks of the 4 films. I would imagine Sydney would be the center because Sydney is the center of those 4. Now, again, it's why it's kind of symbolic because Sam is not the center of all. I guess she will be in 6. She was in 5, but she wasn't in 1 through 4, right? So that's a little more tough. It's like, well, why is she the center of 1 through 4? It makes sense why she's the center of 5 and 6. You could look at it, again, even like Ghostface masks. In fact, what is this whole drawing of? It's a Ghostface mask, and it's all the different movies. So again, maybe another very kind of low-key symbolic thing of all 6 Ghostface masks will be in play in this future movie. So there's plenty of ways to look at it, but I think just at its base level, the Sam part probably just means she's the center of it all. You could look at it as a final girl kind of thing, or she's like the main character of the film franchise now, but also like, again, like all these things are going to connect to her. So that's another thing, right? When whatever this movie does with those Ghostface masks, specifically, I guess the ones of 1 through 4, they're going to have to, I guess, connect those to Sam in some way. Now, again, 1 is pretty easy because you got Billy. But when you go through 2 through 4, I guess 2 has his mom, 3 has Roman, who influenced Billy, 4, like Jill and Charlie, I mean, that one, I guess, is where you'd find the most issues, but because Kirby's there, I mean, they're going to have to stretch it. We've talked about this before with my kind of main Ghostface motive theory. I like my theory, I mean, I guess purposely, right, because I made it, but it is a little tricky for some of these movies to make these things work. But still, excellent poster, gets us discussing it, right? Which, again, is the plan, at least for the Stu stuff. It definitely seems like they want people talking about it because then this stuff wouldn't happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.